Happy holidays. Happy holidays to everybody. Sorry for my lateness, a little technical difficulties. I was going to actually come on yesterday, but I forgot that we had games at 4:30. Then we had games at like 8 o'clock, and I didn't want to mess up the fans' flow. Hell, my flow either. I wanted to see the games too, so I wanted to make sure we all were, all on the same accord as football fans. So I definitely didn't want to disturb unless I was doing some type of watch party. So that's why I did not come on uh, yesterday, but I did want to come check in with you guys, see how everybody was doing, how everybody's holiday went, how everybody's Christmas or whatever you celebrate. Did it go well for everybody? Did everybody get all the presents that they wanted? You know, et cetera, et cetera. So I had to pull it back up. Let's get back into the flow of things. And we got a couple things to talk about. Like I said, this isn't going to be a long show today. Tomorrow we'll be back to normal, 7 o'clock p.m. But I wanted to jump in because we had to talk about Lamar Jackson. We got to talk about Lamar Jackson. We got to talk about Malik Willis. And we got Max Crosby on the docket too. And I think with the Ravens' future was just pointed out to me last night, and I thought about this morning. It kind of came to me because I wasn't even going to speak. I was going to speak on the Lamar Jackson situation, but it's a correlation that just popped up in my head. So, you know, we could walk through it if you're interested in it. So, you guys saw Green Bay. Well, first, let's go with the Texans. Congratulations to the Texans. They've been on a tear. Um, Took care of business against the Chargers. The Chargers look a mess. Them losing Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt throughout this season was a big blow to them. Justin Herbert is getting hit like every other play at this point. And dude is not going to get last getting hit like this. He's getting hit. I mean, he's got to lead the league in QB hits this year. And he's played amazing, but he can't keep taking that type of beating. He's already playing with a fractured hand and everything else, and he just got destroyed. And, he was food for that Texas defense, which is like the best defense in the league this year. Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, they were just teeing off. They were just teeing off. So um, that defense is ramped up. It's going to be a tough out for the Texans. We'll talk about that sometime next week or the week after when, playoffs come. But they're going to be a tough out just because of that defense. And CJ starting to sling that ball. As long as he got confidence in himself to put that ball in the places that he need to go, they're going to be dangerous. They're going to be a dangerous bunch. But we'll get into more of that as the week goes on. We need to talk about what we saw last night. And what we saw last night with the Baltimore Green Bay game. Uh, Number one, Green Bay's defense was horrendous last night. I mean, Baltimore set up and they said, listen, we got Snoop Huntley in. He's not Lamar. We're going to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. And that's exactly what they did. They didn't mince words. They didn't try to surprise Green Bay. They just ran the ball down Green Bay's throat. If it wasn't uh, Derrick Henry just running straight up the gut, just coming out on the other side, running for big gains. They were running toss plays to the left side, to the right side, and he would just get going. He'd see that one hole and he'll shoot through. And Green Bay just did not have an answer. Like Green Bay really did not show up on defense. But I'm gonna tell you who did show up: Malik Willis. Malik Willis showed up, and he's been showing up. Every time Jordan Love has a little nagging injuries, he comes in and he take care of business. He went 23 for 28 for 288 yards, and I think he had a couple touchdowns. He looked poised. He didn't come in garbage time. He played a Ravens defense that's getting better. They're getting better every week. And he was carving them up. That should have been an absolute win for Green Bay. Had Green Bay been able to stop the run somewhat, slow down Derrick Henry and what they were doing. They just looked like they had no interest. They looked like they knew they was getting into the playoffs. They wasn't worried about competing for the NFC North title. They looked like they was just happy to be in. But Malik Willis is showing himself to be he's showing himself to be a valuable starting quarterback. And remember when he came out of school, where he come from? Liberty, I think. All the athletic gifts. He's only about maybe 5'11". He may be close to 6 feet. But he has all the tools. And, he was looked at as a first round pick. Now, that was that draft with Kenny Pickett and all those guys, Desmond Ritter, and we see what that looks like. And he ended up sliding to like the third round. And the best thing that ever happened to him was not being forced to be the franchise guy immediately, because he was ended up being traded after the Titans drafted Will Levis, and Malik Willis ended up moving to Green Bay, and he got to sit with Matt LaFleur and learn the game. Matt LaFleur is one of those guys off the Sean McVay tree, that whole Shanahan type tree. And one thing about those guys, they know how to develop quarterbacks. And Malik Willis has been able to sit for a year and a half and learn how to develop and process the game. And you can see it. 23 for 28, 288 against a desperate Baltimore Ravens team that is trying to make the playoffs. That is trying to that's pushing Pittsburgh Steelers today to have to beat the Browns to actually eliminate them. Because if the Steelers lose today, then it's going to be a pretty much a playoff game between Baltimore and Pittsburgh for Week 18. So they was a desperate team. You knew what they were intending to do, and Malik Willis was carving them up. He was carving them up. Why am I talking about Malik Willis so much besides the obvious? Because I feel like the Baltimore Ravens just found their starter to replace Lamar Jackson. What I saw today, and I'm going to bring up Malik Willis. What I actually saw last night. I'm sorry. Let's get up Malik Willis here. All right. Let's pull up Malik Willis. So these are the games he's played this year. 6 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, no interceptions. Almost 1,000 passing yards, and he got about 260 rushing yards. Let's hear what he has to say real quick. Because one thing about Malik, he's well spoken. They talked highly about him when he was getting drafted and was in the draft process. That he's a well mannered man, respectable, and he's just a good guy to be around. So let's listen to him.
I think that what you put on tape is your pitch, and obviously, any opportunity, it would be a blessing, and you want to think about that type of stuff, but you can't worry about tomorrow. Today have enough problems of its own. We got to figure out how to get back on track here. I think that what you put on tape is your pitch, and obviously.
So you hear how he speaks. He speaks like a man that is a starter. He wants to win. He has leadership capabilities. Why do I correlate Baltimore? Uh, he would be perfect for that Todd Monken system. I think what he showed last night is, believe it or not, that the urgency that those guys played with in Baltimore, that I think that the Lamar Jackson experience is over. I think they've, from the reports, and we can pull up the reports too. Whether I don't know who's sending this out. Let me say that. I don't know who's sending the reports out, but for those reports to come out for your franchise quarterback, they're done with him. They're done with Lamar Jackson. It's no coincidence. I'm trying to see here if I can find the clips. I think they're tired of the experience. They're tired of Lamar Jackson, and I think they want to go in a different direction. When you pay a guy $300 million, and if the reports are true, he can't be a leader. You know, quietly he wants to be the guy that goes. He wants to go down to Miami. He wants to be in Miami, or whatever the case may be. You know, let him. And let's pull up this report. Now, this report is via the Baltimore Sun. It says Ravens head coach John Harbaugh is reportedly growing tired of Lamar Jackson's diminishing work ethic and immaturity that includes late night gaming and falling asleep during team meetings. Once the Ravens become critical of Jackson, he becomes more withdrawn, and that's the problem. That's an entitlement thing. If that's what's going on, we can't speak to. Uh, we don't know if that's the truth or not. It's easy to say that. It's easy to believe that. Um, I'm not going to discredit Lamar Jackson. For what we know, he's been pretty much a model citizen. And he's not out in the streets doing nothing crazy. But you are a leader of a team, and if this is true, they have to get rid of him because they rallied around Snoop Huntley yesterday for sure. They rallied around him. They played hard for him. And you just wonder, where has this Baltimore team been the last, few weeks? All year, really. They didn't play with a sense of urgency. This team was kind of falling apart. And if your leader is acting that way, how is the rest of the team going to act? Like I said, I don't know if it's true or not, but I will say this. If it is true, you have to get off of Lamar. And you know what you're going to get for Lamar. You know you're going to get 3 first-round picks for Lamar. Send him down to Miami, where he wants to go, or if Vegas is a possibility, Tom Brady, knows Lamar, I guess, probably from the Under Armour days and all those things. Sometimes you could be in a space too long. We've talked about that with John Harbaugh. We talked about that with Mike Tomlin as head coaches. Sometimes the message gets stale. Same thing could go, especially for the quarterback position. Things could go stale. He's never won the big game, can never get over the hump, and yet you still have to pay him like an elite quarterback. Well, if you have all these other uh, extra issues going on outside of him not winning the games that he needs to win, why would you keep him? And I think that's where the Malik Willis thing comes in at. If you get off Lamar Jackson's contract, you send him to the Vegas Raiders, or you send him to the Miami Dolphins, Wherever you want to go, you get a deal done. You get those 3 first-round picks. Now his money is off the books. You bring Malik Willis in, give him the Sam Darnold deal or whoever deal, the Baker Mayfield, give him about $30 million a year for 2 or 3 years. He's a QB of the future. You're not hamstrung cap wise. And then you can make some more moves around him. Because, see, a lot of these things that these quarterbacks don't talk about is when you're taking up 20, 25% of the cap, you can't go get these weapons, these high tier weapons, or the players that you need around you as easily as when you have that cap space. So if you got a Malik Willis in Baltimore and you got all this other cap space, you could put a slew of weapons around. At this point now, Malik Willis, what, 26, 27? He might be younger than that. I might be overstating his age. Maybe he's younger than that. Maybe he's about 25. And if he's like 25 and you can put him on a 3 year deal for about 90, $95 million, I say you got to pull the, you got to push the button. Because Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, and I've said this for a while in videos, he's been done in Baltimore ever since the negotiations of the other contract and they put him up on the trade block. I think it was a working relationship as long as they were winning. Any turbulence, any type of adversity come through in that situation, both parties was going to be ready to split because the Baltimore Ravens is a proud organization that have won Super Bowls, and you have a franchise type quarterback. They're not going to just be in quarrels where they out here going at each other. They're going to try to make the best of the relationship and make it work because they were winning. As soon as they started losing and going on that losing streak or falling apart or whatever you want to call it, not being up to the expectation of what the Ravens thought they were supposed to be, now you got all these problems. Now you got all this stuff coming out about how the Ravens were tired. They're tired of Lamar's work ethic. Lamar Jackson tired of them not getting him weapons. All these things. Now all this stuff is coming out. That means that's because the relationship wasn't solid to begin with. And see, here's the thing that may be, I'm not even going to say it's an issue, but it can cause some difference. Lamar not having a typical agent that's not a family member and that's not his mother could pose issues in itself. Not that she negotiated the deal because I thought that was awesome, but when it's time to go to talking to the team about what Lamar needs to do, or somebody kind of reeling him in on certain things, that relationship, that mom son relationship, is probably going to play a part in the way he moves in certain ways versus a typical agent who don't really know you. And I'm not saying all the time they have your best interest, but they probably would be like, hey, I just talked to the organization. They're not happy with you. They feel like you doing this and you doing that. Either, you going to get it up to their standards or you going to ask for a trade. But when he went into contract negotiations, he already had feelings about the Ravens organization not wanting to pay him and put him up on the trade block. So if he has those feelings, that means that his mom probably had those feelings too. So that's just a family dynamic. I don't know how that plays a part, and maybe it doesn't. But I think that's something to kind of just, keep in the back of your mind because that could be a situation. You know what I mean? And like I said, when you see the reports, maybe they're false. But if they are true, it looks like a lot of entitlement. And no one can get in front of him and tell him, hey, you are the franchise guy. We need you to be this or we need you to be that. I don't know. Like I said, I am a big fan of Lamar Jackson. all the way from when he came out of Louisville, where they tried to tell him that he needed to go to wide receiver and all this other stuff, and he played his position, and he's made a whole lot of money, and he's made a whole lot of progress in his career. Throws the ball better, he's had all the accolades. He just couldn't be Patrick Mahomes. But this is going to be a rough way to go out this year if they can't make it to the playoffs with no Patrick Mahomes in their way. With all the weapons that they put around on this team is like ready to win. Derrick Henry is not getting any younger, even though he's running like he's 25. He's not getting any younger. D Hop, older guy at this time. He doesn't have too many years in the league. You got these guys that are ready to win now. And this team is built to win now. And if they don't get it done this year, at some point, you're going to have to start resetting this cap. So I don't know what Lamar's situation is. You know, uh, is he tired of Baltimore? Do he feel like they've been messing around on his career too? That's a strong possibility. But I think it's a divorce that needs to happen. And I think Malik Willis is right there for the taking for the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens got to see Lamar Jackson's replacement in front of them. That's what I think. So, um, let me know what you guys think about that. Um, I just don't think it's a good situation, and I think it's going to either be John Harbaugh going to have to go or Lamar Jackson's going to have to go. One of the two is leaving, but I think it's more so going to be Lamar. Like I said, once you're on the books for that type of contract and you're not producing to the results that they want you to produce, even though it's only two teams that can get to the dance, this was a prime year for them to get to the dance. And, if Pittsburgh go out there and they do their job at 1 o'clock, it's over. Another year lost for the Baltimore Ravens. So this off season, this off season is going to be fun. But, watching Malik Willis last night, watching how the team rallied around Snoop Huntley for Baltimore last night showed me that that situation is falling apart in Baltimore with Lamar and the organization because they play for the backup and they don't play for Lamar Jackson like that. Call it what you want to call it, but that's just the situation. That's just being realistic. So um, we'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens. Next subject we got to get into. Like I said, this is a quick, brief live. 1 o'clock is on its way. I'm gonna be sitting down just like the rest of you guys, watching these games, and then we'll convene Monday at 7 p.m. and we'll really, really, really get into it. Talk about everything that's coming up. We'll have more clarity on the playoffs, everything else. So, um, next thing I want to jump into is Max Crosby. And we're going to listen to Mr. Max Crosby, one of my. So let's listen to him.
I don't. That's not my job. My job is to be the best defensive end in the world, and that's what I focus on every day. And being a great leader, and being an influence, and being you know, being that guy on a consistent basis for my team. So, yeah, that's their job. That's the front office, the coaches, that they do that. But that's got nothing to do with me. I've learned that lesson in the past. I'm not trying to. You can't control everything, and that's not my job description. My job is to be the best in the world at what I do, and that's
Number one pick being on the line.
yeah. I don't give a about the pick.
Well, you heard Max right there. So I got something else to pull up here. Let's got something else to pull up here. Because Max Crosby is going to tell you how he feels. Now, to give context to this story before I put this video up, the Raiders said that Max Crosby was being put on the injury reserve list to have a meniscus surgery, to do a cleanup, to do a quick shave on his meniscus. Now, I've had meniscus surgery. Um, I've had that same process. And yeah, I'm not like a super athlete. I'm a wannabe when I can, when I have been. I'm not a real athlete like a Max Crosby or these guys. So, of course they go bounce back faster than the normal Joe like myself. But when I show you this, it's not adding up. So let's look at this. So what you see here is we got a Steph Crosby right here. We got Max going between the legs. And let me see if I can get a better one. I had a better one. Hold on. Oh, I didn't mean to do that here. Give me 1 second here. Let me pull this back up here. Yeah, y'all saw Max going between the legs. Now that don't look like somebody who is having some meniscus issues. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But that don't look like somebody who's having meniscus issues. Just saying. Let me pull it up. Maybe you guys can help me out. Now I've had this surgery. Now, I was up walking. Shouldn't have been. But I was up walking immediately. So let's put this on the screen. Now, they said that he cannot play. They said he couldn't play, right? I mean, behind the back, Steph Curry, one-legged dirt shot for three, falling down, behind the back, pull up dirt for three, got him. I mean, this is a lot for a guy who meniscus is falling apart and need to have a surgery immediately. This man is not injured. If you don't think he's sending a message to the Raiders organization or what he's doing right now, that don't look like a man that's going in for meniscus surgery. Let me tell y'all something. As somebody who's had meniscus surgery, it don't completely debilitate you like you got an ACL tear or anything like that. But where that that meniscus, it'd be snagging. It feels like a snag. It almost feels like you caught a nail in your shirt and you trying to pull away and it's got that little snag. That's how a meniscus tear is. This man doing all the Steph Curry, Dirk Nowitzki, step back threes don't look like he got a meniscus tear. I'm just telling you right now. And I'm gonna tell you what I think he's doing. He's forcing the Raiders to trade him because what's going to happen is the Raiders go get in trouble because that means that they lied on their injury report, which may cost the Raiders picks. He said he wanted to play. Okay, you got a guy that is the heart and soul of whatever little semblance of a Raiders organization it is. Max Crosby wants to win. He's gonna play hard. He's gonna give it all that he has, and this is what y'all do to him. There's not much else good going on in the Raiders organization. Like if he wants to play, let him play. Unless you're good with shopping him too. Y'all come to the agreement that, or at least y'all are starting to come to the agreement as the Raiders organization This is going to be a full teardown. We're going to receive 2 first-round picks and possible player, or 2 first-round picks and maybe a third or fourth round for Max Crosby. And we can reset the clock over there in Las Vegas. That's my opinion. And you know the team that's waiting for him, right? Let's talk about that team that's waiting for him. They in the NFC East, and they wear the color green. Max Crosby talked about it somewhat on his podcast about how he loves Philadelphia. Philadelphia would welcome Max Crosby with open arms because he's tough. He fits the culture. He fits their cloth, their DNA, everything else. He would be the perfect fit there, and I think that's where he's going to end up. Remember, Howie Roseman made a pitch to the Cleveland Browns to get Myles Garrett. That was 3 first-round picks, or whatever the case may be. The Browns balked at the situation. Okay? Even though they shouldn't, because, the Browns have won, 3 games this year with Myles Garrett having like 50 sacks, and it's still not getting them nowhere. Now, you can say whatever you want to say about it, but, I think some ego was involved in that situation. But we're not even going to talk about that. But Max Crosby is available. Howie Roseman is on the phone. He's already making a call. He probably already called over to John Spytek over there in Las Vegas, said, I know your season over. Ours ain't over yet. But when soon as the new league year opens up, we got a deal. Because what's the one thing that the Philadelphia Eagles is somewhat missing? A pass rusher. Now, they got Jalen Phillips. Good young pass rusher. Okay. But what if you can have Jalen Phillips, Max Crosby, Jalen Carter, and Jordan Davis in the middle? You think the Eagles defense tough now. Listen, they're going to pull that move. Max Crosby will be a Philadelphia Eagle. He'll be a Philadelphia Eagle. That's a fact. And they already started to plot that way. That's why Max Crosby did what he did. Jumping on the trampoline, out there shooting fadeaways, one-legged. He coincidentally pushed that out the same day that they said that he needs a knee surgery. He's forcing Vegas' hand. Vegas already probably felt like they were ready to move off of him anyway, because just like Myles Garrett in Cleveland, as great as Max Crosby is, he doesn't affect the game enough to the point where they're getting wins off of him being in Las Vegas. So why not trade him? Get you 2 or 3 first-round picks or whatever else. Restock the cupboard in Las Vegas. Rebuild the team with those picks and see where you go from there. But Max Crosby, in my opinion, will be a Philadelphia Eagle. But I'll tell you something. That just put the Las Vegas Raiders in trouble. The NFL would be giving the Raiders organization a call, though. Because they're going to say, now, if you got this guy and there's 2 games left, and he's talking about he want to play, and y'all not letting him play, and then y'all announce he need to have a surgery. Then he turns around and goes on social media, is doing all these athletic things, and then jumping on the trampoline too. He's doing all of these things. He's debunking what y'all just put out. Which gonna mean an investigation will be coming for the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. That's why I say this just opened up a can of worms. And what's probably going to happen too is, knowing how Goodell moves, it'll be some new rule in place for next season coming. They're going to have to show proof to the league that a player needs a surgery, because I've never seen this before like this. Usually, if it's something behind the scenes and it's a player that they want to sit out, aka the Kyler Murray situation, that's, you know, team and the player have decided probably behind the scenes, hey, we're gonna say you hurt. It ain't working here for you. You tired of being here. We're gonna look for you a trade partner next year. Let's just say you got a an ankle injury or whatever, a back injury, something that you can't get real proof on. We gonna sit you for the rest of the year. Player agrees because they're still getting paid. Well, here's the situation where Max Crosby did not agree with the Las Vegas Raiders, and now is out in the open after they said that he had to go for a surgery on a meniscus tear. Somebody's not telling the truth somewhere. That's what's happening. And Max Crosby is going to expose that. So he'll be up out of there. He's out of there all season. My opinion, he'll be a Philadelphia Eagle for sure. But, you know, we'll see. But that's definitely going to open up Pandora's box, and the NFL will be looking into that. That's for sure. And then the Raiders probably going to end up losing picks. So, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I just wanted to jump in. How many we've been on for about close to 40 minutes. I know it's football time. You know, it's a lot of games that matter. Seeding and this might solidify some people getting in, some teams getting put out. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. So we're going to probably about end this live here. I appreciate you guys coming out, lurking and looking in. Don't be scared when you see the live going. Leave something in the comment box. I answer questions. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share the page. It helps. It helps. We want to get more people in tune with what we're doing. I'm going to do a better job of making sure I'm on at the times, getting everything together. So I'm still working and work in progress as usual. 2026 will be we coming in. We coming in. So, but I'll be here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time. That'd be perfect. We'll get our hour and a half in probably before Monday Night Football or whatever the case may be, or a little bit into the first quarter or whatever the case is. But we definitely got to talk because we'll see the aftermath of the day's games, see what comes out of those. And interesting week coming up. We got a lot to talk about this week, too. A lot to talk about. I just didn't want to try to pack all of this into today's live with games coming on in the next 20 minutes or so, and things may change. So just want to make sure that I have everything ready for you guys. But I did want to talk about Lamar Jackson, Malik Willis, and Max Crosby, the correlation between Lamar Jackson and Malik Willis and all that other stuff. But again, I appreciate you guys for stopping in, checking in with me. Appreciate it. Like I always say, we go build this thing brick by brick and enjoy the ride. So I appreciate you guys, and we will do this again. So I will see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Go watch football because I'm about to. To the next one. Peace.